Welcome back to the Morning Blend. Okay, I have this rule at my house. My kids don't like it so much about not turning on the heat until Halloween. Ooh. Right. But let me tell you, it's been chilly outside lately. It does not help that my windows, though, are a little drafty, too. And while that might be okay for fall, when winter sets in, you know, it's super chilly then, and then you've got a problem. And the heating bills are very likely to be high.
Yeah, that's a tough rule. So today, getting your windows ready for winter and how to replace windows without shattering your budget, right? Brandon Erdmann is the president of HomeSealed Exteriors, and we're excited to have you here today. Thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Great to see you.
This is the time, but people kind of start thinking like, okay, you know, winter's coming. I see like in the forecast, like maybe even sleet, some rain. Can people do it this time of year? Is this a good time of year?
It's a great time of year.
Really?
You know, we had such a long summer this year. It was warm for so long. You know, the phones weren't raining quite as much for us. Been a busy year for us, but you know, I think it's not on the top of people's minds until that first cold hits and they feel the cold coming off the windows. And now's a great time to do it. Absolutely.
Well, and they worry about the holidays coming up and budgets and things like that. So I imagine that's something you hear often from people.
It is. You know, definitely getting around the holidays. Again, people aren't thinking about the windows. The weather change gets them going, but then usually once Thanksgiving hits, things slow down a little bit. However, as far as pricing wise and things like that, that's really the best time to do it.
I bet.
Yeah, and I would think a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's winter. It's going to be really cold outside. I can't replace my windows and go through that type of work when it's that cold outside.
Exactly.
But the truth is you can.
Exactly, yeah. And that's actually one of the most common questions we get is, well, what about your caulk? And, you know, we use the insulating foam around the windows and stuff like that. All those materials that we use are actually rated down to 0 degrees. And that's what I tell people is our biggest thing is we want our installers to be comfortable. Yeah. So, you know, they dress warm, usually around 20 degrees or so. You know, if it's a nice bright sunny day in 17 or something like that, hey, they're comfortable, they're working. We want them to do a good job. But as long as it's not, you know, snowing and 60-mile-an-hour winds or something like that, we get those guys out there working. And like I said, all the other materials are good down to some very frigid temperatures.
That's good. And Molly doesn't care how cold her house gets, but other people do. So does it let cold air in when you're doing all this?
And there's going to be a little bit, and that's another big question that we get is, oh, I don't want my house to be, you know, 15 degrees, right? Yeah, exactly. But even once we get into January and February, we take measures. You know, the window is actually only out, the old one's out for maybe, you know, 20 minutes or something like that before the new one's getting in there. We're disassembling things. Once the new one's set in, we're reassembling things. A lot of times, especially on older homes, we're putting up some plastic over the windows. You know, we do that to minimize the mess during construction, but it has a second benefit is it keeps a lot of that cold air out as well.
Smart.
And we work room to room. You know, in the middle of summer, we might go and, you know, tear out 5 windows at once, and you got an assembly line going. Wintertime, we really focus on 1 window at a time just because
close that door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And usually, you know, we're not going to have your house at 70 degrees while we're working, but it's not going to be too bad. If you have a sweater on, if you happen to be there, you'll be comfortable.
You'll be all right.
Parka.
Yeah. Molly will be fine.
Right. Exactly.
It's like colder the better.
Right.
Are there signs that people can look for, the things that they'll notice where it's like, yeah, your windows need to be replaced?
You can hear them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Have you ever had that window where you can hear it going, whoo, and you're like, oh.
You hear the whistling of the window, you hear everything outside because as that air is leaking through, that sound is traveling right with it. You know, that's one of the biggest things that we hear after the windows are replaced are, wow, I don't hear that road noise anymore. I don't hear my neighbors anymore because things are sealed up tight. You know, seeing condensation, you know, feeling a draft, the room seems a little bit cold. Obviously make sure they're all the way closed first. You know, sometimes we get that.
And latch them. Yeah,
exactly.
You
get that and you get out there and, oh, look, it wasn't closed all the way. Yeah, definitely those are some of the things to look for. You know, if they don't work at all, there's definitely some things like that.
Talk a little bit about this one you brought, just because we're getting some cool shots of like some of the insulation and different things. What makes these special?
So there's a lot of little things to look for in a window. You know, you can line up several different vinyl windows across the table, and they don't look all that different, but it's really in the minor details. It's really in the construction of the window. Things like the glass spacer, you know, it's a double pane glass or triple pane, and the spacer between those pieces of glass, you really don't want that to be metal. Metal is very conductive, so we have a composite spacer in there. The amount of weather stripping that's used, the manufacturing tolerances, really just the way that the window is designed and assembled. This particular manufacturer that we use, the owner of the company is actually the head product engineer. And I
wow.
think that's really cool. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. Being, you know, the owner of our company, my background is in installation, so I was a hands-on guy, and that's why I really like dealing with these people. It's not just some sales guy or
Something you believe
accountant
in.
or something like that. Yeah, exactly. I call him and say, hey, can we make this window this size? Yep, Brandon, we can do it. So that's something that really appeals to me.
Well, and then you know that the window you're getting is going to be way better than whatever you have that's drafty
Exactly.
and howling at you, especially when it gets cold. Right now you have a great offer. It's an opportunity to do this before the holidays, before it gets too cold and things get worse. You get buy 3 windows, you will get 2 for free. Call now at 414-545-0405, or you can visit them online at HomeSealed.com.
Giving them away.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Thanks,
All right.